Hello, everybody. My name is Teacher Alex, and today I'm going to take you on a journey to outer space. We're going to read about a little boy who would love to go to space in a book called If You Decide to Go to the Moon. So, if you decide to go to the moon in your own rocket ship, read this book before you start. It will tell you how to get there and what to do after you land. The most important part tells you how to get home. Check the things you'll need: spacesuit, air tanks, books, and games. Don't forget your diary and plenty of food. Peanut butter, apples, cake will all taste good in space. Water and juice are also important. To get to the moon, you will travel about 240,000 miles. A long trip, but rocket ships go fast. If you average 3,750 miles per hour, you will get there in 2.5 days. Pretty fast. So, get aboard, close the hatch, light the burners. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off. You shoot up into the sky. And as your ship rises through the clouds, your body is pressed against the seat. At first, you feel very heavy. Don't worry. This feeling will go away. For a few seconds, you fly through a mixture of clouds and air and dust that hangs over the earth. It's not very thick, only about 15 miles. You will shoot through it right into space. Space is dark and empty. There's no air in space, no clouds, no rain. Only a few specks of dust, and some chunks of ice called comets. Both meteors and comets are pieces of stars that exploded long ago and have been flying around in space ever since. If one hit you, it would be very bad. But space is so big and you are so small that a collision is unlikely. In the blackness of space, the stars shine like a million fireflies. The sun blazes with fiery light, and the moon, the mysterious moon, glows like a pearl in the black, black sky. Of course, you know that the moon has no light of its own. It glows in the light of the sun. Up here in space, you may feel very alone. Don't look back at the earth. It would make you even lonelier. This is the time to play some cheerful music. Eat a peanut, keep your eyes fixed on the shining moon, and settle down for a long ride. Relax. Take off your seatbelt and be prepared for a surprise. Because you are weightless in space, you'll float like a feather inside the cabin and bounce off the cabin walls, but you'll bounce very lightly and find it a lot of fun. When you're thirsty, don't try to pour orange juice into a glass. With everything weightless, it would collect into floating liquid balls and become an orange juice blob. You can drink out of a squeeze bottle instead. After supper and a squeeze of juice, it's time for bed. Tie yourself to your bunk so you won't float away, and settle down for a good night's sleep. Of course, there is no night in space. You'll have to pretend. Try to have sweet dreams. When you wake, you will be much closer to the moon. It will be big and round and very bright, with dark patches that look like lakes or seas that were made billions of years ago, when the moon was very hot, hot enough to melt stone. Now and then, melted stone spurted up through the crust and spread out on the surface like spilled soup. When it cooled, it hardened into stone, called lava. From Earth, these smooth, dark places look like oceans. Playing cards will also help you pass the time, but if you drop them, they'll drift around the cabin like butterflies. Floating around to catch them feels like swimming in a dream. The first humans to go to the moon landed on the Sea of Tranquility. It's marked on your moon map and would be a good place to land. But you still have a long way to go. When you are tired, lie down and look at all the stars. On Earth, you only see the stars that are above you. Up here, there are stars in every direction. You might write in your diary, I wonder how far space goes and where it ends. At last, when you have read all your books and played all your games, you wake from a nap and see the moon right there below you. You look down on an endless desert, everything, all one color, gray. The ground is covered with rocks and round craters. Craters are holes made by meteors that have rained down on the moon through the ages. Some were huge and made deep holes across hundreds of miles. Of course, you steer clear away from the rocky places. At last, you see a lava lake below, the Sea of Tranquility. Get ready to land. As you descend, you craft shivers and shakes, and it settles softly. You feel a bump. You're on the moon! Your first look will be disappointing. All you'll see through your porthole is a cloud of dust stirred up by your landing. Put on your spacesuit and air tank while you wait for it to settle, because the opening and the latch, and get ready to jump out. You will land lightly because the moon is smaller than the Earth and has less gravity to pull you down. If you weighed 60 pounds on Earth, you will weigh 10 pounds on the moon. Your first step will be difficult. You will rise in the air and leap forward like a kangaroo. But once you learn how, walking will be fun. Each step takes you 5 times as far as a step on Earth. Leaping over boulders and craters, you cover the ground with magical swiftness. The moonscape is strange, but it doesn't look dangerous. The dust reminds you of cake flour. You wish you could take off your suit and play in it. Don't do it. The heat of the sun would burn you up. Because there's no air or water on the moon, there are no clouds to shield it from the heat of the sun or the cold of space. Anything touched by the sun is blistering hot. Anything in shadow is instantly cold. Without a spacesuit, you would sizzle or freeze. So as you walk, you'll notice that your boots don't crunch on the pebbles. If you take a hammer and hit a rock, there's no bang. It's impossible to make noise on the moon. Without air to carry sound waves, you can't hear a bell ring. You can't hear a horn blow. You can't hear a whistle or a song on the moon. If you kick a pebble, it will bounce without a sound. As you keep walking, the silence and stillness are eerie. Nothing moves, and the boulders and hills have strange shapes. Some hills look like dinosaurs, some look like giant turtles, or weird birds, or a herd of cows. A heap of jagged rocks looks like a ruined castle. You feel as if you might be in a fairy tale. Or is it a dream? Your map tells you that astronaut camp is just over the next hill. As you climb, you wonder if things will look different on the other side. Will you find something green? Something alive? A meadow of moongrass? A herd of moon cows? Look at the moon cows. The answer is no. The hills stretch on and on and on and on into the horizon where the moon meets the blackness of space. Everything on the moon is lifeless and still. To find the astronauts' camp, climb to the top of the boulder and use your binoculars to scan the distance. Look for a patch of color, the red, white, and blue of the flag the astronauts left behind. As you get close to the camp, you'll see everything the astronauts left behind, strewn amidst the lunar disk. Tools and equipment are scattered about. Their boot prints, they look fresh. There's no wind or rain to wear them away. The astronauts left a message for anyone who visits them on the moon. Here, men from planet Earth first set foot on the moon, July 1969. But the flag they planted isn't flying. The flagpole was blown over from the blast when the astronauts took off. You pick it up and push it deep into the sand. The flag is stiffened with wires that it looks as though it is flying even though there is no wind. It is a brave and wonderful sight and reminds you of the courage of the astronauts who brought it here. If astronauts ever return, they will find the flag flying once again and your boot prints in the dust. By now, your tank of air must be half empty. It's time to return to your ship. Your trail of footprints will lead you back. You retrace your steps in leaps and bounds. When you see your spaceship waiting, you're suddenly terribly homesick. You can't wait to get back to Earth. Take a last look at the moonscape. Get aboard, close the hatch, and pray that the computers will start. You push the buttons and lights flicker. Machinery whirls and rockets fire. Your ship lifts off and your heart lifts too. But you have thousands of miles to travel. You'll just have to be patient. Whenever you feel discouraged, look through your porthole and you will see a beautiful sight. Earth, surrounded by stars, shining like a blue and white ball on a Christmas tree. The nearer you get to Earth, the more wonderful Earth will seem. Finally, you're close enough to see the continents and the oceans, and maybe even your house. You can see the clouds and rain and wind moving across them, connecting everything on Earth. Your trip is almost over. Your ship has reached the atmosphere, and you drop down through the clouds and land on the green grass. You jump out, thankful for a miraculous journey and a safe return. As you bend down to kiss the ground, you promise you will always do your best to protect all life on our beautiful Earth. That was our trip to the moon. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope one day you get to go to space. Hello, everybody! Today we are going to outer space, but we need some help to get there. First, let's watch a video of astronauts going to outer space in a rocket ship. Rocket ship. Spaceship. Wow, they're going all the way to space. Today, we're going to go to space too. Everyone will have one piece of paper, and they will make it into a spaceship. You can decorate your spaceship if you want to. Once your spaceship is created, you will then have dice. You will come up, get the dice, and roll. I got a 3. That means I have to say the third word, which is astronaut. Once you say astronaut correctly, you can throw your airplane, and whoever throws it the farthest gets closer to space. Once you get close to space, you can say all of the words. The first is space, outer space. The second word is spaceship. This is how we fly to space. The third is astronaut. These are the people who go to space. The fourth is moon rocks. These are little rocks we find on the moon. The fifth is homesick. You'll miss home. And you may be kind of sad because you're so far away. But remember, you're coming back. And the sixth is float. There's no gravity in space, so you'll be floating and in the air. Once you win the game, help your classmates get to space and keep saying the words. Have fun.